Hello, everybody. It's another day on the program, Healthy Living. I'm Adesuwa Osa Owage. Our topic today, we're going to be focusing on hypertension. We discovered that from research, out of 10 persons, you'll find 6, other times 7, living with this ailment. What are the causes, risk factors, complications, how to manage? This and many more we shall be looking at on the program, Healthy Living. If you know somebody who has this ailment, I think you should call the person so that the person can ask the doctor a question or two. Some persons have it, they don't know until some other ailments will set in and perhaps kill the person. So today we want to look at hypertension. Some other persons call it high blood pressure, whichever we want to look at it. Something is going wrong with your system. And the only way you can take care of it is when you see a doctor, you get some diagnosis, you get medications, and you stay true to your medications, then I'm sure you will be just fine. So join me as I make welcome Dr. Barry Ojo. He's a family medicine practitioner. It's nice to have you join us today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have been planning this, our discussion for quite some time now. Yes. So I'm glad you could make it today.
Thank you.
So Dr. Barry, hope you don't mind if we do first name basis. Okay, so let's look at hypertension. What is it? Yes. How does it present?
Yes, hypertension is one of the commonest illnesses in the world, and is one of the fastest killer. Fastest killing disease. Actually, is defined as elevated blood pressure of 140/90, and it is persistent. And it's not just when you do a patient's blood pressure is 149, above 149, that is hypertension. It has to be maybe on 2 or 3 readings, okay, or on 2 or 3 occasions, and it has to be persistent. The systolic blood pressure is the upper value, and the diastolic blood pressure is the lower value. But again, this is a disease that, like you said, is common, very common in our population. And WHO in 2010 talked about over 46% of adults above 25 are hypertensive. And meanwhile, the prevalence in Nigeria, a study done in Enugu somewhere in 2012 said that over 33% of that population is hypertensive, though there is almost a prevalence between male and female. There is a male preponderance above the female. Population. Okay. But all the same, I haven't said all that. Hypertension can be 90% essential hypertension, or it could be non-essential hypertension.
So what do you mean when you say essential hypertension?
Essential hypertension means that that's the one that is commonest in the population. 90% of the population belongs to this population. Essential. Then the non-essential ones is when they're most likely to be maybe an underlying pathology. This one is commoner in the younger age group. Okay. Or the patient can be having an underlying disease like a kidney disease or maybe a liver disease and all that.
And
yeah, of course. And that's then for the essential hypertension, patients might be asymptomatic. Most of people, like you said, have hypertension, they don't even know. But there are some common features of hypertension.
Please let us know.
Commonly, patient might come in as maybe a checkup, looking for a checkup maybe for malaria or something. And accidentally discover the patient had persistent elevated blood pressure. So first of all, patient might be having things like headaches. Patient might just be feeling unwell. Some patients might be coming with poor sleep. Patient might be having some maybe anxiety and all that. But the anxiety might just be because the patient is not sleeping well. But there might be an underlying factor. The blood pressure might be elevated. Patient might be having what we call palpitation, be awareness of his or her heartbeats. So things like that can be coming, not knowing that the patient is already having a persistent elevated blood pressure, which is hypertension. Then again, other features can be patient can be having leg swelling. Patient can be having recurrent headaches, like I mentioned. Then
how is the headache like? Because often at times some persons will say, "Oh, I have this persistent headache."
You know, there are different kinds of headache. You have the primary headaches, you have the secondary headaches. But most times, the ones that is common with hypertensive patient most likely can just be the normal tension type headaches. You know, you have the migrainous headache. So, and it will be generalized, and the nature of the headache will be dull and aching. But having said all this, hypertension is an ailment that everybody should be aware of, because most times it is associated with a lot of morbidity and mortality. That's a causing of death and all that. But suffice it to say, this one that over 80% that are hypertensive, over 80% of that are diabetic, they are hypertensive. That was a study done in the
Over 80%. Over 80%. That's quite huge.
Of diabetic patients are hypertensive, whereas only about 20% of hypertensive are diabetic. That's a study done in Ilefe in 2012 by the Dio and others. But in all this, how do you manage an hypertensive patient? As apart from the fact that you want to look at, how do you investigate? When you say management, you're talking about from the history you take from the patient, the family history of hypertension in that patient, and the patient will be having some of these features that we just talked about. As the patient be having poor sleep, as the patient has been on any form of medication before, is the patient having another form of ailment like diabetes or could even be an endocrinological problem. So after that, you want to look at the common investigation, or the common evaluation you're going to do for the patient. The physical examination, they're looking at, of course, after looking at the pulse of the patient, they're looking at the jugular venous pressure, what we call the JVP, elevated, because these are some of the features of long-standing hypertension. But for the look at diagnosed hypertension, these ones might not be present. We want to look at what we call arterial technique. They want to look at some of the heart activities, the heart sounds and all that. They might be at the third or the fourth heart sound may be present in some patient. Then after we want to look at the common investigations that you do for this patient. Now, the first thing you want to look at is want to do urine analysis for the patient. Very many patients that are hypertensive may have things like protein in their urine. We'll talk about proteinuria. Then you want to look at the cholesterol of the patient. Irrespective of whether the patient is obese or slim, you want to look at the electoral creatinine and urea. They're talking about the kidney status of the patient.
So the weight is irrelevant.
No, the weight is very important here. What I mean is that the routine investigation for hypertension is one, urine analysis. Talking about the cholesterol, want to look at the fat in the blood vessels. They were looking about the kidney status, the electoral urea creatinine. Of course, you're going to do ECG for the patient. The electrical activity of the heart. Then you're going to do a chest X-ray. And of course, you're going to do a full blood count and an ESR. All these are all investigations. Of course, all of that ancillary investigations. Because
all these investigations, is it all of them that will be done or one or two?
No, you can do them. It depends on how the patient presents.
Because as you're calling the investigations to be done, I'm sure somebody is already frightened.
No, what I'm saying is that what I'm trying to say that almost always hypertension is a clinical diagnosis. So you look at the blood pressure, look at the vitals of the patient.
It's not what you can self-diagnose.
Yes, so somebody might think that I've checked my blood pressure in any facility or in a chemist shop or even in a pharmacy, and they said my blood pressure has been increased. So apparently the patient has already have a self-diagnosis. But what is most important is that, in illness, illness is what the patient thinks he or she has. While disease is what the doctor or the attending physician confirms that the patient has. What I'm trying to say is that you don't just run all this investigation. Don't forget it's a low resource country. And as a family doctor, I know that you look at the income of the patient. So but the baseline investigations must be done, including like urinalysis, the ECG, the kidney test and all that, the electoral urine creatinine. But again, you can also do some other tests and some other ancillary investigations like liver function tests, which might be necessary. It also depends on the other comorbidities. Because patient, of course, maybe be hypertensive and maybe diabetic. Patient might be hypertensive and have a thyroid problem. Patient might be hypertensive and have maybe arthritis and all that. So all other investigations that will follow this common investigation depends on the way the patient presents and the kind of common problems that the patient might have, all of that disease that the patient might have. But having said all this, the most important thing is for the patient to have that acceptance that this illness has come. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk about treatment proper the patient. But again, in all this, what is most important is for the patient, for the attending physician to explain the nature of the illness to the patient. Because the patient will talk about, patients when they talk about illness, they talk about fear, the fear they may have for the illness. What are the ideas they have about this illness? Somebody say, maybe it's my grandmother, it's my colleague in the office that may have caused such a problem. So what kind of, how does this thing affect the function of that patient? Talking about hypertension as a case study now. What are the expectations of this patient that is presenting to you as a physician? And all these things must be met. So the reason for that encounter must be met. For hypertension, it is always important that it is good for you to let the patient know that this treatment is a non-communicable disease, it's an incurable illness, but it's a controllable illness. Controllable. And that if we follow it up, because medical practice is all about disease prevention and health promotion. Anything outside that, there might be complications.
Okay, let me take your mind back to causes of hypertension. Often at time people will say, don't eat too much salt or don't eat salt at all. It may, cause you some ailment. Others will say, oh, don't eat too much oil, don't do this. There are so many things one should not do. Is it true that food or salt can cause somebody to have hypertension? Apart from that, what are other causes?
Thank you very much. You just reminded, when you were talking about, when you introduced the topic, you mentioned risk factors. Actually, the cause of hypertension is unknown, but there are risk factors. There are risk factors for hypertension, just like every other illness. Well, number one is that a lot of these illnesses like hypertension and diabetes can run in family. That which is a family or a genetic undertone. That's number one. Number two, things like smoking is a major factor. Everything is present in smoking. A healthy living is not one of them. So smoking is a major risk factor. Of course, alcohol is a risk factor. Obesity is a risk factor for having there's stress. Stress-related activities can also lead to hypertension. So all this put together, for a patient that is having high cholesterol, or called dyslipidemia, or maybe hypercholesterolemia, it can run the risk of hypertension. Because some persons are carrying high cholesterol and they are not aware of it. So that can also predispose the patient to having elevated blood pressure. Because blood pressure is all about renal perfusion. We don't want to go to the pathophysiology. Because here we want our viewers at home to catch it up in terms of family practice. So that we're able to take something home. We're not here to speak out the grammar. Because here we're not discussing academics. We're discussing something that can benefit the people. Then other risk factors, the list is endless. Someone that's having a thyroid problem can also have cancer developing hypertension. So if any endocrinological problem, of course diabetes. As a medical student, over 20 years ago, they will tell you the commonest cause of DM is HN. DM is diabetes mellitus. Hypertension is HN. So anybody that having diabetes most likely may have hypertension. Because when the patient has developed what we call diabetic nephropathy. So that will compromise the kidney. And before you know, the renal perfusion will reduce. That's why I don't like going to grammar. Then at the end of the day, patient develops hypertension. As we said earlier, 80% of diabetics are hypertensive. Clear study done in effect in 2012. So in all this, what is responsible for an illness is not the most important. How does the patient cope? What is the follow? How do you manage the patient so that they will not go into mobility? What we call primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention. Now we're into patient we've already developed the disease. So how do we go into secondary prevention? When we talk about complications of hypertension, you come and hear them. There are numerous of them. And that is what has led to so many things, even though the commonest one is stroke. We'll discuss that one as we get along into complications. But maybe we can talk about treatment proper for the sake of time, because the callers are going to be coming in. The treatment for hypertension is not specific. It's individualized. It depends on the way the patient presents.
So what works for A may not work for B.
Of course. And the first studies earlier on, long ago, is that if a patient is hypertensive, you have non-drug and drug approach, what we call non-pharmacologic and pharmacologic approach to treatment of hypertension. We'll talk about non-pharmacologic later.
We can do that right away.
So in non-pharmacologic approach to treatment of hypertension, you mentioned low salt diet, which is a very good one. We are talking about lifestyle modification. We are talking about reducing your high fatty diet, run away from a lot of too many carbohydrates, of course, carbonated drinks like Coke, all these minerals and all that. Drinks, then that is not even, that doesn't end there. Adequate exercises. You are doing regular exercise, then weight reduction, then adequate drinking of water. Of course, so many social lifestyle. Then what is also more important
basically is lifestyle should
yes, the lifestyle because there must be weight reduction. You must avoid smoking. You must reduce alcohol to the barest minimum. Possibly stop alcohol. Then, of course, reduce low salt intake. Fat, avoid salt diet. Of course, then sleep hygiene. In family medicine, sleep hygiene is very important. Patient must have adequate sleep.
What's adequate sleep?
No, sleep. There's at least not less than 6 hours in night for adults. Then it change younger population and children, not less than 8 hours per day.
Now let's look at hypertension in children. How does it come?
Yes, hypertension in children is part of the non-essential hypertension, the 10% group where you have most likely to have an underlying pathology. When a child, for instance, there's what we call acute glomerulonephritis, AGN. A child developed that. So hypertension is one of the 4 components. You have hypertension, you have oliguria, you have hematuria, then you have edema. So the child is developed, you have leg swelling, maybe at times facial swelling, the child is having elevated blood pressure. So when you notice hypertension in the young, especially let's say take the pediatric age group now, between the age of from, let's say, 2 years to 9 years. They're most likely to be a renal pathology. But never say never. It can also be a kidney pathology, a liver pathology. There's all called, even in adults, there's all called hyperrenal syndrome.
So they need to take a child immediately to
notice
hospital.
Elevated blood pressure, that child must be referred to specialist care. And that is why that's where we and the pediatricians will come in. Because we need to investigate what is responsible for the elevated blood pressure.
Okay.
Is it that the child has childhood diabetes? Is it that the child had a kidney problem and all that?
All right, you're watching the program Healthy Living on ITV, and we are talking hypertension with Dr. Barry Ojo, who is a family practitioner. You can give him a call on 052-290-573. So call the doctor. It's just that most times after the program, you see calls pouring in. This is, we're not going to talk too much. I'm not going to ask Doctor quite a number of questions. I want you to do all the, asking, okay? Ask Dr. Barry Ojo questions about hypertension. It can happen to women, men, children. Nobody is exempted, okay? So you need to ask questions, particularly if you have hypertension in your family. He just said that, one could get it if there is a history in the family. So give him a call, know how to manage. You already have it, yes. There is nothing you can do about it, but you can manage it if you are quite religious, okay? And I don't mean religious as in church or whatever. Religious with your drugs or you are regimented, then I think you will be fine. So the number is 052-290-573. All right, while we're waiting for course, doctor, let's look at the complications.
Before complications, the discussion will not be complete without talking about drug treatment. But
drug treatment, okay, we did not drug treatment.
First line of drug is
but we don't talk about, we don't call names of drugs.
No. What we're trying to say that it's a category of drugs. Okay. So even my chiefs and all of that, my seniors in the profession will be happier with this discussion. First of all, we're talking about the diuretics. These are the ones that will help remove a lot of fluids from the system. Okay. That's the first category of drug. Then you have the calcium channel blockers, with the common ones that are nodipine and all that. Then you have the aggressive enzyme inhibitors. Then you have the receptor blockers. Then you have the beta blockers. You have the aggressive receptor blockers. So this category of drugs, let me suffice it to say here that one of the best category of drugs in treatment of hypertension is the aggressive enzyme inhibitors, because they help in remodeling the heart. Talking about the lisinopril, the ramipril, and all that. But again, it also depends on the patient. Because
and these drugs are to be taken for life.
Yes, and again,
isn't there a point where the patient breaks?
Of course, if the patient now have a standard, a stable blood sugar, blood pressure control, then you have to step down the dose. That is why regular hospital.
So you don't stop the drugs at all.
It depends. If a patient is, if a patient can be on 2 or 3 types of antihypertensive, but in the long run you can bring it to one of the category.
Okay.
Okay. Then if a patient is on maybe 2 drugs, they can also step down the doses. But they say, and you don't stop any of this medication without the doctor's consultation. Okay. Because that can lead to a lot of complications. Okay. So that is why drug approach, and again, some of these drugs have a lot of side effects. You see some men taking antihypertensive and they now have erectile dysfunction. So some categories of these drugs can also relate to those kind of indirect, I will call kind of complications. Because it's not just the blood pressure that may lead to that, unlike diabetes, that can cause erectile dysfunction, but maybe the side effects of the drug. So drug management of hypertension has to be purely under the clinician supervision. Okay. That is there's no glycemic.
So nobody should just go into drugs. Oh, this person has hypertension. Oh, let me use the drug. That
yes, and this idea of some religious body and some other spirituality talking about staying off drugs is a dangerous approach, because they are to say it here categorically that no.
We are very religious people. So
yes. But again, a lot of religious persons are our patients. So they also come to this. They also come to us for all this medical attention. So drug compliance is very important.
Okay, let's quickly do this call now. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay, maybe if you speak up a bit, we'll be able to hear you. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Can you tell us your name, where you're calling from, and ask your question?
Actually, my name is Peter. I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay.
My name is Peter.
I can hear your name. Ask your question, please.
Actually, I'm running this high blood pressure for a long time.
For a long time now. How long?
High blood pressure for a long time now.
How long? For how long now? Hello? Okay, I hope that caller
I think
is
the caller there
gonna
was
call
trying
back.
to talk about he has been a known hypertensive for a long
Yes,
time.
for a long
But I think
time.
what I heard last was saying that whether can you know the cause? We will not be able to, we are not omnipresent. So probably he has to go back to his physician to find out, doctor, I had this blood pressure, I be coming to the clinic. Can you give me an idea what could be the etiology? What would have been the root of this illness? So many a time the doctor, virtually every doctor now can be able to educate the patient on what may be responsible for the problem. Because the idea of a disease is very important to the patient. Because that idea is what will lead to some expectation that will lead to a result for that patient.
Okay, let me take you through this scenario where a patient, okay, diabetic patient had to go in for appendicitis. In the course of, taking samples and all of that, it was discovered that she was also hypertensive. So the operation could not be carried out because according to them, they were trying to regulate the blood pressure and all that. But eventually the patient died without even going through the operation. And so the person wants to know, why was it difficult for the doctor to regularize the blood pressure or bring it down to the point that they can actually perform an operation on the person?
Well, this one, in standard practice, it will be an anomaly. Say in an emergency situation where you take a patient to theater without doing all the pre-surgery evaluation. If a patient is a non-diabetic, we said earlier that most diabetics are hypertensive, over 3/4. So I expect the attending physicians or the attending surgeon to be able to have a consult, then go through all the patient's file, then make sure the blood pressure is within control. After all, the way you described it, I looked at an elective surgery. So that's the reason why such patients would have been completely evaluated. Bring in the anesthetic, bring in the physician, bring in the cardiologist. Let there be a complete total workup. Because the patient is going to go through anesthesia, which increases the blood pressure is very high. Even the sugar level, patient has been asked to fast. So it's possible that patient was now hypoglycemic, and hypoglycemia kills. Because at the time the sugar level, a known diabetes is asked to fast, the insulin level is no longer highly activated. The blood sugar drops below 40, 30, and the brain is no longer getting enough glucose. Patient dies. So it's not even it's the bad side of the medical practice in this part of the world, because litigation is very low. Why will you take a diabetic patient for surgery and not completely evaluated, and you discover the patient was not hypertensive? If you are now going to do surgery, and you know you have asked the patient to fast before surgery, and you know the patient can run into hypoglycemia, why not put the patient on infusion at least a 10% dose?
Okay, a practice where the medical doctor is not always on seat and he has this way of making calls to the nurses and those around. I'm sure that was the case that happened there. Because
that is part of the negligence we're talking about.
Was brought to
because this has nothing to do with incompetence now. It's part of the society that we found ourselves. But what we're trying to say is that let's look at a normal practice where the doctors were able present. If you have a patient that is diabetic,
the patient
and you have asked the patient, and you have asked the patient to fast, because there's no way the patient would not fast, irrespective of the surgery. That's why we want to go through a general anesthesia. We're going to put the patient to sleep, and the patient is not fasting, and you don't discover the patient is hypertensive. With all those delays, like you said, the incoming doctor is coming to come and do surgery. Maybe 12 o'clock is not there, 12 noon. Patient is already going to back. Sugar is very low. So your sugar is no longer going to the brain. So why not just put in 10% dextrose, for instance? Then of course you prepare your insulin. So if the blood pressure comes out normal and you prepare your insulin, you are giving your 10% dextrose, because 50% dextrose might be too high. Then you can go in for the surgery. Let's assume the blood pressure is normal. Then if the sugar is not going to come in during because of surgery, then you can give insulin. So all those are peri-operative management. So you see, that is the problem we have in this part of the world. I will say it again. The truth of the matter is that the medical profession has so much deviated into so many things. Because why will you be managing a patient through phone? Patient are going for surgery. Surgery, for crying out loud. If you are not around, tell your colleague who you know is competent enough to take the surgery. And make sure the patient is properly evaluated. You see these things commonly even in the government hospitals. You've heard so many stories about litigation here and there. MDCN come to the matter, and some doctors are disciplined. So me, it's impunity.
I'm just wondering, whatever happened to that oath that was taken?
Because I don't know, the issue of oath has to do with individuals. Because I am not, this is not a political discussion. If you are taking an oath, I expect anybody to abide by the oath. But what I'm trying to say here is that every patient that is prepared for surgery is between life and death. So we doctors, exactly which specialist, we may not bother. We know the patient is going to be fine. So I expect every patient, every medical personnel or any health facility to get a patient for surgery, everything, total, so what we call complete workup on a patient, let alone the issue of sugar, the issue of blood pressure. So to me, those things are just elementary. So I would not expect a patient to fast, a non-diabetic, 12 noon, 1 p.m. if not done surgery. And you say that the sugar is high and the doctor says it's coming. For crying out loud, this is life.
Okay, 052290573 is the number to call, and Dr. Barry Ojo is on set waiting to answer your questions. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello. All right, we're expecting calls, and when you call us, do this for us. Reduce the audio level on your television set so that we can hear you, or move away completely from where your television set is. And then when you talk, speak up a bit. We know that sometimes network can be very funny, but just, you know, use your bass voice, the last one, so that we can hear you properly. And your question may also help that person who is watching the program. 052290573 is the number to call. And doctor, while we're waiting for call, let's go to the complications
yes,
now.
I was going to do all that. In family medicine,
yes,
bereavement care is one of the most important areas in our own specialty. We don't want to see any patient dies. So one of the easiest ways, we are big time educators. One of the easiest way to counsel a patient is to talk about the complications. Okay. The morbidity of any illness. Okay. So, first of all, the common stroke you hear of, hypertension is solely responsible. They are one of the major causes because it could be cardiovascular. So, you know, you have hemorrhagic stroke, you have thrombotic stroke. So, the hemorrhagic stroke, most times, hypertension is responsible. So, a patient should be aware that if I don't take my BP drugs regularly, if I don't go to visit my doctor regularly, if I don't go to the hospital regularly, if I don't obey the lifestyle medication, I can go to complications. So, stroke is one of them. Then there's what we call hypertensive nephropathy. So, a patient can be having hypertension and he starts developing. Okay,
let's quickly get this call. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon. Tell us your name, where you're calling from.
My name is Blessing. I'm calling from Edo State.
All right, Blessing. How are you? Talk to the doctor.
My name is Blessing. I'm calling from Edo State.
Yes, ask your question, Blessing.
Okay. Ma, I wanted to ask the doctor. My grandma told me turning her. I don't know what drugs I'll give her.
Your grandma's tummy is turning her. And you want to know the drugs you will give to your grandma. All right, Blessing, we heard you loud and clear. Blessing says her grandma has got stomach problem. I want to know the drugs to give to her grandma. We don't do drugs on the program, Blessing. We don't. And also, we're not even talking about stomach issue today. So what you will do for your grandma is to quickly take your grandma to the hospital, okay? Take your grandmother to the hospital. She is old, and we know that once somebody is getting old, there are always 1, 2, 3, or 4 health complications, all right? So don't compound grandma's problem, all right, by keeping her at home or doing self-medication, all right? So go to a hospital and let a doctor treat your grandma. All right, that was Blessing. All right, doctor.
Yeah, thank you very much on this one. So, still on the issue of complications. Yes. So, you talk about hypertensive nephropathy. That's why you see that a lot of kidney, when you go to the kidney clinic, for instance, UBTH, virtually most of the patients that are there are either diabetic or hypertensive. So, hypertension can lead to a kidney problem. Because once there's already a deviation in renal perfusion, the kidneys start malfunctioning. And before you know it, the patient can develop hypertension from that.
Okay. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
That,
hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please tell us your name.
My name is Nelly.
Okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Benin City.
Okay, good.
I want to ask the doctor.
Go ahead.
What is hypotensis?
What is?
Hypotensis.
Hypotensis.
Yes.
Okay. Blessing, are you a medical student?
Yes.
Okay, she wants to know what hypotensis is.
Yes, hypotensis, well, I don't know why is this connected to hypertension. It's a general word. That's a epidemiological word. We're talking about postulations. When you say hypotensis, things on a trial. Okay. So if you say, for instance, you want a drug, let's say you want to do evaluate a particular drug, or maybe on animals, so you do an hypothesis, something like a trial. Okay. So it's like a postulation. So that's not connected to this discussion. Maybe we'll just ask
you got her answer. All right, 0522905573. The number is on your screen. Give Dr. Barry a call. Ask him anything you want to ask him on hypertension. Okay, women can call him because women too, they suffer it, and children, particularly nursing mothers. You should ask this question so that when you see some changes in your child, you know exactly what to do. Because some parents, the moment they see changes, they start asking neighbors, I beg, when this thing happened to your daughter that day, how did you do it? How did you? Oh, I used that drug, I used that drug. And before you know what is happening, they are compounding problems. You know, something that may not even take like an hour or two with the doctor, you go spend days in the hospital.
You're right, and then complications can set in. So still on complications, if you go to eye clinic, you'll see why majority of the adult populations that goes to eye clinic in any part of health facility across the world are hypertensive. So one other complication of hypertension is hypertensive retinopathy. So what's the pathophysiology? Once you have increase in blood pressure continually, so it can lead to increase in blood pressure in the brain, talking about intraocular pressure. And once that one sets in, that one is different from the ocular hypertension. So patients are having difficulty blurring the vision and all that. So that's why we say, even diabetes with the eye is over 10 complications, let alone hypertension. So once a patient, somebody is hypertensive, please follow up your doctor, follow up your drugs. It's not joke, because apart from being the commonest killer of every other ailment across the globe, a patient can develop even auto blindness if it's hypertensive, because other comorbidities will come. There will be increase in eye pressure. Glaucoma can set in. There's so many things can set in there. So many problems can come in, even though diabetes is more implicated. Yes. So that is why it's always good to be a regular hospital attendant when it comes to all these non-communicable diseases that are controllable but not curable. But suffice it to say that, like you said earlier, there's what we call spirituality in family medicine. Spirituality means not just that you want to be holier than thou. That you want to use faith, you want to believe in your treatment that your doctor is giving, you want to believe in the attention that you be accepted. So at the end of the day, when that acceptance is done, there's what we call theoretical change. The last stage is change. So the last stage is already acceptance. But we always pray people who have non-curable illness to accept their illness.
Okay, let's take this call now. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Peter. I'm calling from Festac.
All right, Peter. Oh, Peter is calling from Festac in Lagos.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, nice to have you on the program. Peter, talk to us.
Actually, I've been running this high blood pressure for a long period now. Actually, there was no test has been done to know what is the cause.
Okay.
So actually, the drug and prescribed for me, I only use the drug. Sometimes when the drug finish, I will not have money to buy more. But actually, up to now, I never knew the cause. So somebody told me that whether I'm having a regular headache, back headache, and also breast ache. So somebody told me that it's part of the high blood pressure that is causing it, but I don't know how sure it is.
Okay.
I want the doctor to address it for me.
All right, Peter, just listen. The doctor will talk to you. You heard everything Peter said.
Yes, that's one of the commonest problems we have in the country. You heard what the caller just said? That when at times I don't have money to get the drugs. So when you're not consistent with the drugs...
The drugs are quite expensive.
Yeah, they're not expensive. We're in a low-resource country. There are a lot of unbranded antihypertensives that patients are doing well with. Okay, you said we don't need to mention the names of the company.
We don't do that.
There are some antihypertensives that is as cheap as 400 in a month. Okay. So it now depends on the kind of health facility that this man is attending. Okay. Because at the end of the day, there are so many drugs in the market that can go for this patient.
So why is his own blood pressure not?
Because it's not compliant. Well, if you look at what he's saying now, once my blood pressure is not, but what most people do really, what a lot of people do is that once the blood pressure is normal, they live off the drug. But when they now discover they're having dizziness, they're having sleeplessness, they're having palpitation.
He's having constant headache.
Exactly. Now. They will now rush back, they will go to a chemist or a pharmacy and discover their blood. They will now start looking for it. They start looking for the leaflet or the prescription of the doctor or the pharmacist or whichever health attendant. But again, it has to do with the country that we belong to. Because in Ghana, the NHS, they've gone a long way to up to 90%. In South Africa, the same story, let alone in the diaspora. Nigeria were just only less than 6% of NHS coverage. What is NHS? NHS, in simple definition, is anybody that is ill, you have access to health attention. You can imagine if this man is giving free drugs, for instance. He's going to get them. All you need to do is to encourage you to continue to take them, despite the side effects of the drug. But drug is a body. And irrespective of the way you want to look at it, that's why every drug is a poison. What differs is that it's the dosage. So it's not easy to take medication. Today we're talking about hypertension now. Tomorrow we're talking about HIV/AIDS. Next month we're talking about cancer. All these are all medication-dependent illnesses. So what I'm saying is that if this man have access to NHS and it has a lot to run into people that are family practitioners, definitely he's going to comply with his drugs. Because I remember in medical school those days, the first thing they taught us in hypertension was that tell the patient, say, oh God, madam, this medicine you could take care for life. So they will emphasize to us as medical students those days. But what I'm trying to say is this. There are antihypertensives that are cheap as 600. Some of these ones that help to remove fluid from the kidney and other part of the body, some of them are as cheap as 100 naira. Do you understand? So you can, in 1003, you can take drugs, you can take your medication for a month. But how do you even get the 1003 in a harsh economy like ours? But that's another story for another day. But again, there are so many lifestyle medication that this man will be taught. For instance, suppose this man ate Santana this morning. Maybe he just finished drinking mineral before he called into the studio. So maybe he just ate butter this morning. So
all of that should,
yes,
be thrown away.
Because if you look at the reason why the urban areas in terms of prevalence of hypertension is higher in Nigeria, it's over 23%, compared to those who live in rural area, it's mostly diet, which is one of the major problems in lifestyle medicine. And this is being ascribed to overweight that will now manifest into obesity. Because there's what we call syndrome X, But all these things put together, whether you like it or not, that is well. The reason why we have increased the death rate in the countries like ours, so these sub-Saharan countries, is the kind of country we belong to. Because at the end of the day, people are not protected. Oh, I know the orientation is also a problem. But I say, I better leave medicine, no problem. I can only do it myself. Yes, of course. So at the end of the day, but a lot of people need to be supported. Then the government too has to do a lot of things. The health workers too have to do a lot of campaign. But again, even in the practice, there are so many insincerity.
I was on this program some time ago when somebody called in to say that he is on drugs, as a male. He's been on drugs for a very long time. But in recent time, he found out that every time he takes the drugs, he becomes very drowsy. He even becomes more sick than he was before. So he just...
That's what we're saying in this. That's the essence of this public address. If you are taking medication and you are having side effects.
So what I was going to say is that at what point does one stop taking medications?
No, they are not hard and fast.
Particularly when that medication begins to trouble
Yes,
the
they are
person.
not hard and fast rules to it. Once you notice any form of illness, any form of chemotherapy, once you're in any form of medication, once you notice abnormality in those medications, you go back to your doctor. You go back to whoever is the prescriber, probably your physician. It's always advised, it's good to tell the public that once you are taking a medication and you notice that medication, you are not coping anymore, you go back to your doctor. It could be that the blood pressure was already going down than normal. It could be that the blood pressure is not being managed. It's not being controlled by the drug. So those things can now present in different forms of symptomatology that can now look as if maybe the drug is not working. Or either you have been overdosed or you are underdosed. Or probably, of course, there are so many side effects of drugs. You want to your paracetamol. For instance, abdominal discomfort. Like the caller that called about the grandmother. You will be surprised that the woman may have taken something like aspirin. Maybe she has not eaten it, that can cause abdominal discomfort. So drugs can cause side effects. But you go back to your physician. That will now guide you. There are some drugs that are expensive up to 8,000 naira a month. They can still cause side effects. But there are some as cheap as 500 naira per month that patients can do well with. But it's always good to be a regular hospital attendant. Even if the person have ulcer or asthma or whatever. It's always good to keep your attendance. It's always very important.
Now let's go back to drugs. We find out that there are so many little shops scattered around Benin now. I took time to count. They are not regular pharmacies. They just say drugstore, patent medicine, and all that. And you find out that the attendants are usually not trained pharmacists. You find auxiliary nurses. You find somebody that trained under somebody. Like they do this thing by apprenticeship, and the person will just open the store and start selling drugs and prescribing drugs, dispensing, and some even inject patients. I don't know what doctors are doing about that.
The truth of the matter is this. In my street, the number of chemist shops is more than the number of churches. It's part of the things that we see in this country. People are not being monitored. Everything is not.
That's why people are dying.
Yes,
we have plenty
because
of
there are
jobs.
so many forms of, let me call it errant quackery. There's so many terrible things that is happening. It's sad that this has to do with life, because life has no duplicates. So, but my problem is, who is monitoring who? I have a lot of political background, so I don't want to go into that, because that's not the aim of this. But again, the family doctors are working hard to do a lot of awareness campaign to say, look, the first-line doctors that we are specially generalists.
Yes.
We are easier to access. We are cheap to access. We are not expensive. Why not come to us? Even though we know that we are very expensive, but we are accessible. We are the people's doctor.
Now you're telling the truth.
So that is it. So the problem is that I think it's poor monitoring.
Medical care in this country is quite expensive.
Yes, I agree with you.
However you want to look at it.
I agree with you.
Let's quickly do this call. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Idaho.
Idaho. Where are you calling from?
I'm coming from New Benin.
Okay. Welcome to the program.
I discovered that most of some of the doctors, they don't know what they are doing.
Okay.
I have to tell you that. People that are being employed in UBK specialist hospital, many of them, they don't know what they are doing.
That is your opinion, please. It's not the position of ITV.
I will tell you first, Africa, let me tell you.
Go ahead,
Somebody
but
was not a 2 more in his finger. They say they are going to cut it.
2 more in the
They
finger.
are going to Lagos.
Is it your finger?
A consultant, he went to Lagos, and that thing was done.
Okay. All right, Idaho, we get your point, but that is your own opinion. That is not the opinion of independent television, okay? That some doctors don't know what they are doing. They will not be doctors if they don't know what they do. They know what they are doing, that's why they are doctors. Okay, we'll do this call. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Adesu. I'm Dr. Barry Ojo.
Okay, thank you, madam. What's your name, please?
Meg is my name.
All right, Meg, talk to us. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Benin.
Okay, Meg.
I've been listening to what, though I met it halfway.
Okay.
Dr. Joe happened to be my doctor.
Okay.
I am on his medication.
Okay.
But the thing I want to ask is that each time I come to UBA, though he's not the one that is attending to me,
okay,
they will say continue with your drug.
Okay.
So that is it. So continue with your drug, continue with your drug. I just said continue with the drugs.
Okay. So are you having any problems now?
No, I don't have any problem.
Okay, so you're continuing with your drugs, you're religious about it, and everything is going on smoothly. Okay, Meg is a very good patient. Yeah, thank you, Meg, for calling.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's just what Meg wants to say, that she has confidence in Dr. Ojo. And then the doctor she meets at UBTH. Okay, that's what Dr. Ojo has been saying, that if you have been given medications, you should, as a matter of saving your own self, be very true to yourself by taking your drugs according to prescriptions, and then maybe see your doctor often. All right, doctor, time is not our friend. How do we prevent all of this as we round up the program?
First of all, the prevention of hypertension is, one, we're talking about disease prevention now. The awareness is very important. We want to champion the awareness to the people.
Yes.
That, look, this illness, you can be carrying it and you'll not be aware of it. So regular check to the hospital is very important.
That's one crazy thing about Nigerians that we don't do, regular checkup. People don't go to hospital until there is a problem. Yes. Nobody just want to, why should I go to hospital when I'm hale and hearty? So, that's one thing we need to really
because
talk about.
Early detection of an illness is going to help in management of the illness, and it's going to help, of course, that will not lead to health promotion. Of course, it lead to help to prevent the illness. Then two, we should also talk about, we should remember the issue of lifestyle. Okay. You might not be able to not wait till somebody is hypertensive or diabetic before you do lifestyle modification. You know, this issue of avoiding stopping smoking, if the person is already a smoker, cut down on alcohol, watch your weight, always watch what you eat. So the lifestyle medicine, which is a very big part of family medicine, is one of the gold standard in the prevention of any illness. Okay. Because once you follow up these issues, you are going to do well. My mom is 75. My grandmother died of diabetes. So, but she's doing well at the age of 75 because she followed just like every other of our siblings. So it's always good to have this lifestyle modification. You know, avoid stress, do enough sleep, take enough water, do enough exercise, adequate compatible exercise. Sedentary life is always a negation to healthy living. And sedentary life is defined as if you are not going to move your step for more than 7,000 times a day, that's why it's sedentary. So again, we're now talking about watching your weight and all that. Then of course the food we eat. The reason why over 46% of Africans are hypertensive, of course most times it's diet. So you wonder why this poverty at the same time diet. In the geopolitical 6 continents of the world, Africa has the highest. 46%, the study done in Ghana in 2015. So that's why we must watch our health. A healthy living gives us a lot of longevity, irrespective of what it is, irrespective of the present situation of the country.
All right, Dr. Barry Ojo, thank you very much for being part of us on the program. And for those of you who would want to do a follow-up call, please listen to this telephone number. You do a follow-up call on 080-266-87187. The number again is 080-2668-7187. Don't miss it. When you do this, we'll be able to talk to you after the program. And this is all we're going to do today. We say thank you to all our callers. And this life does not owe you health. It's something you owe yourself. We'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye.